Tonight, we're with staunch activists in a political clash away from the campaign trail. The struggle over the future of the Supreme Court, the passing of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, making way for a nominee who some say may reshape women's reproductive rights for decades to come.
Hey y'all, the time is 7:50. We're on our way to our location. We have our cart ready to go, and we're excited. The rain is starting to pour a little bit, but that's not going to stop the pro-life generation.
For Melanie Salazar, a 22-year-old senior at the University of Texas, San Antonio, this moment is history in the making.
Oh, cool!
She's joining 4 other women, the self-described SCOTUS Squad, ready to mobilize for Students for Life of America to protest against abortion rights.
Our goal as the pro-life generation, as the SCOTUS Squad, is we want to motivate and activate the pro-life generation, especially right now, to vote pro-life first and be a voice for the preborn.
Only a few blocks away, Amanda Matos, a Planned Parenthood activist, is also getting fired up.
Abortion rights and all of reproductive rights is personal. The personal is political.
Today's a big day. It's the start of the Supreme Court confirmation hearings.
They both believe Judge Amy Coney Barrett represents what could be a turning point for ending abortion rights, almost 50 years after Roe v. Wade made it the law of the land.
For me, I'm a community organizer. That's my career, that's my livelihood, preparing for the hearings themselves. I realized that I need to be in this fight, and I need to be there with my siblings, the long hand, to make sure that our rights are protected, because too much is on the line right now.
Energy is high. We're excited for our girl Amy to come. We need to block this nomination.
Both women who've spent years driven by this mission on opposite sides of the fight, eventually finding their way to the Supreme Court steps. As the first day of Judge Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation hearings get underway.
What does that mean to you in terms of being at the confirmation hearing?
Our hope is to show our support for Amy Coney Barrett. We want her confirmed, and ideally, we want her to be a part of overturning Roe v. Wade.
Her nomination is putting reproductive rights completely on the line, and it's going to directly impact millions and millions of people's access to health care.
The hearing to confirm Judge Amy Barrett to the Supreme Court will now begin.
Inside the Senate chamber, the battle lines clearly drawn in what's expected to be an historic hearing.
This was a Supreme Court confirmation hearing unlike any I've ever seen. I've been doing it since 1987. And it's obviously because the pandemic hangs over this hearing room. Senators were socially distant. Some of the senators were participating by remote link, and it was eerie almost as a result. That's because this is a nomination that is associated with a coronavirus outbreak at the Rose Garden over at the White House, reaching here into the Senate.
Barrett wearing a mask throughout, a reminder that this is all taking place amidst a global pandemic. Her husband and 6 of her 7 children in the front row.
As I said when I was nominated to serve as a justice, I'm used to being in a group of 9, my family. Nothing is more important to me, and I'm very proud to have them behind me.
At 48 years old, she was in line to fill the seat of the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, making her the 5th woman ever to join the court.
If confirmed, it would be the honor of a lifetime to serve alongside the Chief Justice and 7 Associate Justices. I admire them all and would consider each a valued colleague. And I might bring a few new perspectives to the bench.
The push by Republicans to fill the seat just weeks before the election, unleashing a fierce partisan battle.
There's nothing unconstitutional about this process. This is a vacancy that's occurred through a tragic loss of a great woman, and we're going to fill that vacancy with another great woman.
No nominee has ever been confirmed this close to an election.
In the middle of an ongoing election, Senate Republicans have found a nominee in Judge Barrett who they know will do what they couldn't do, subvert the will of the American people and overturn the ACA and overturn Roe v. Wade. That's what this is about. That's why we're here. It's very simple.
A recent poll found 52% of Americans say filling RBG's vacant seat should be left to the next president, while 44% say the current Senate should vote on President Trump's nomination.
There were a couple of mentions of Roe versus Wade by Democrats, but they wanted to focus on health care. And I think they think that is the issue right now that can help them the most in the election. But there's no question that Roe versus Wade and a woman's right to choose to have an abortion is at stake in this nomination. But it's pretty clear that Republicans don't want to talk about it because they're winning.
Today's hearing just adding to the rancor in Washington for the nomination of a young judge who could hold this lifetime appointment for half a century.
I chose to accept the nomination because I believe deeply in the rule of law and the place of the Supreme Court in our nation.
So her appointment really does tip the scales towards the conservative justices.
Absolutely. It was already a conservative court. With the death of Justice Ginsburg, you really only have 3 solid liberal justices on the court. So Amy Coney Barrett as either a 5th or a 6th conservative vote would mean it would be very difficult for the liberals to win in many cases. They would have to get Chief Justice Roberts and another vote, and it's hard to see where that other vote might come from.
Barrett is known as a devout Catholic. President Trump and the Republican Party praising her extensive experience as a legal scholar.
She is a woman of unparalleled achievement, towering intellect, sterling credentials, and unyielding loyalty to the Constitution.
The Louisiana native graduated at the top of her Notre Dame Law School class.
So Amy Coney Barrett went on to clerk for Justice Antonin Scalia, conservative titan on the Supreme Court. By all accounts, she was one of his favorite law clerks, and very quickly moved into being a law professor herself.
Her beliefs and her connection to anti-abortion and anti-LGBT groups now raising questions about how it might affect her interpretation of the law. The issue first raised in her 2017 Senate confirmation hearing for the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals.
The dogma lives loudly within you, and that's of concern.
It's never appropriate for a judge to impose that judge's personal convictions, whether they derive from faith or anywhere else, on the law.
This time, Democrats citing concern over 2 speeches and an anti-abortion ad, which she failed to disclose prior to the hearings.
The Democrats are very suspicious of these omissions. Of all the paper that you might forget to include, it's these on hot-button issues. They actually sent a letter to the Justice Department demanding that the nominee and the Department of Justice come clean. They said they questioned Amy Barrett's candor because of these omissions, and you expect to hear more of that as the week goes on.
According to an ABC News Washington Post poll, 6 in every 10 Americans favor upholding Roe v. Wade.
What does this mean for the future of Roe v. Wade?
I think that if Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed, Roe versus Wade very likely will be overturned. When you look at her scholarly writing, she has said very clearly she doesn't think the court is required to abide by its prior decisions if those decisions are very wrong. And I think she does believe Roe versus Wade was very wrong. So to her, more important than what the Supreme Court has said in previous cases is what she thinks the Constitution means.
But courts are not designed to solve every problem or right every wrong in our public life. The policy decisions and value judgments of government must be made by the political branches, elected by and accountable to the people.
Answering questions on where they stand on Roe is standard for modern-day Supreme Court nominees. Even Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg addressing the issue in her 1993 confirmation hearing.
It is essential to woman's equality with man that her choice, that she be the decision maker, that her choice be controlling, and that if you impose restraints and disadvantage her, you are disadvantaging her because of her sex.
Ginsburg would continue to advocate for women's reproductive rights up until her death last month.
The moment that I heard that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, my heart just paused for a second. So for me in that moment, it was, wow, there's a legacy. I need to carry that fight. And so much is on the line with the Supreme Court opening.
What was your reaction when you heard that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had passed?
Well, as the pro-life movement, we mourned. We took a moment to say, let's pray tonight, but then we have to do action tomorrow.
When I was 21 years old and just beginning my career, Ruth Bader Ginsburg sat in this seat. She told the committee, what has become of me could only happen in America. I have been nominated to fill Justice Ginsburg's seat, but no one will ever take her place. I will be forever grateful for the path she marked and the life she led.
Back outside the Supreme Court steps, both sides say it all comes down to this nomination and what it means for the election just 22 days away.
We encourage every pro-life person to vote pro-life first. It is so important that whether or not people are behind President Trump, we hope that people will hate abortion so much that you will vote for someone you don't like.
So nothing else President Trump does matters, only his position on abortion rights?
The number one issue for me is the issue of life.
We're waiting to hear from millions and millions more voters on election day. And for me, that's really the issue that's on the line, that honestly, democracy is not being upheld when Republicans are just rushing a nomination before the outcome of an actual election.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.